Today we're going to do the first page of 11.7, Solving Rational Equations. A rational equation is any equation that contains rational expressions. Basically, again, what that means is they will have fractions that contain variables. Today we are going to focus on solving rational equations that can be solved using cross products. You use cross products property to solve rational equations when each side consists of only one rational expression. Basically what that means is it's a proportion, and we did this a little earlier in the year. When you have a proportion, you can use cross products. So one fraction on the left side, one fraction on the right side. So what you have to remember is to distribute when appropriate. So when I am doing the product of the means, and I multiply 4 times x plus 4, I have to do 4 times both of them. So this is going to be 4x plus 16. And when I multiply the extremes, I have to do 5 times both terms. So that's going to equal 5x minus 20. And then we solve the equation. So I'm going to bring the 4x's to the right side. And I'm going to get 16 equals x minus 20. And move the 20. And I'm going to get x equals 36. Now, one thing you have to do at the end is you got to check for those excluded values. So my first denominator here, x cannot equal -4. And for my second denominator here, x can equal +4. And why we've been doing that this whole time is for lesson 11.7. We want to check to make sure the answer that we got doesn't match our excluded values, and it doesn't. 36 is an okay value, so that is the answer. Let's take a look at number 2. Again, I'm going to multiply the product of the means. Y times y is y squared. Y times -2 is -2y. And that's going to equal the product of the extremes. 5 times 7 is 35. I see a squared variable. Whenever you see a squared variable, the method to solve is factoring. So I'm going to move this 35 over to the left so that my equation will equal 0. The method here with no coefficient on y squared is product sum. And two numbers that multiply to -35 and add to +2 are -7 and +5. And that would mean that my answers here are 7 or -5. Again, I got to check my excluded values. Make sure that they are all good. First fraction, the excluded value here would be 0. It's a monomial with a variable. And my other one does not have a variable, so it does not contain an excluded value. Again, everything checks out good. Those are my answers. Let's try number 3. Again, cross products. Product of the means is going to be 4x minus 12. The product of the extremes is going to equal 2x minus 14. And I'm going to solve the equation. And I have variables on both sides, so I've got to move it to one side. And move my -12. And then divide. X equals -1. All right, let's check my excluded values. Over here it can't be 3. And over here it can't be positive 7. So my answer is correct. All right, let's take a look at number 4. Again, cross products. Z times z plus 4 is z squared plus 4z. And then that's going to equal 4 times z plus 1, which is 4z plus 4. And again, I see a squared variable, which means I need to move everything so that z will, or the expression will equal 0. So I'll take away 4z from both sides. And that gives me z squared equals 4. Subtract 4. Z squared minus 4 equals 0. And this is a difference of 2 squares. So z plus 2 and z minus 2 equals 0. And that means z can equal negative 2 or positive 2. Check our excluded values. X cannot equal negative 4. X cannot equal negative 1. Those do not match any of my answers, so there we go. Why don't you pause the video and try number 5. Okay, hopefully you got y can be 8 or negative 1. One of the keys to this one is remembering to factor out the GCF. It does make factoring easier. If you didn't factor out the GCF and use the British measure or the box method, you just create a lot more work for yourself, so always look for that GCF if you can. And again, the GCF doesn't have a variable, so it's not going to provide me with a possible answer choice. All right, number 6. Again, we're going to do cross products. So I'm going to multiply, again, the means. And I'm going to get 6y minus 18 equals extremes, y squared minus 9. And I'm going to see again that we have a squared variable, so I need to factor. So I'm going to bring or get rid of this 6y by doing negative 6y. So I'll get negative 18 equals y squared minus 6y minus 9. And then I'll add 18 to both sides. And I get 0 equals y squared minus 6y plus 9. Now you could certainly factor this one using product sum, but I recognize that this is a special product. This is a perfect square trinomial, so I know that when I factor this, I get y minus 3 quantity squared. It doesn't matter if you see it or not, it just makes life a little easier because now I only have one binomial to look at. If you had done it with product sum, you just would have gotten the same binomial twice. So there is only one answer here. Y is 3. And we're going to go up here and check our excluded values. For the first one, y cannot be 3. And for the second one, we're not quite sure, so we actually have to factor this to figure out those excluded values. So I'm going to factor that difference of 2 squares real quick. It'll be y plus 3 and y minus 3. So that means I can't be negative 3 or positive 3, but I already have that written there. And what you'll notice is one of our excluded values is the same as our answer, and that can't be. So our answer actually for this one is there is no solution, because the solution we got will create a 0 in the denominator, and that is undefined. So that would be something you want to look for as you do your problems for today. All right, that's our lesson for today. Tomorrow we will do ones that you can't use cross products to solve. Have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon.